Hey, you clicked on this video because you have sciatica. Guess what? There is no quick fix. That's the bad news. The good news is I also have sciatica and we can go on this journey together. Hello guys, welcome to Home Gym Prague. This is a sciatica recovery vlog. For anyone out there who is dealing with lower back pain and sciatica, I'm going to be taking you guys through a workout which includes some physical therapy on the floor, includes some cardio with doing some work on the elliptical, and then also doing some lightweight training as well. So one thing, this is actually part of my own personal journey in recovering from sciatic pain, something I've been dealing with for actually a little bit over a year now. At its worst, I was laying in the hospital on a bed because I could not walk anymore. I was just in too much pain. I had pain running from my lower back all the way down through my leg, and literally couldn't move around anymore without massive amounts of pain. And so it has been a challenging journey, but doing the physical therapy is a very, very necessary part of it. I am working with a professional physical therapist who I see regularly, but those sessions by themselves is helpful, but not enough. Doing the consistent recovery work at home, I believe, is very, very important. And so I'm going to be sharing a bit of that journey with you and taking you guys through a workout. And hopefully for anyone out there who is also dealing with sciatica, lower back pain, this will be helpful to you as far as your own recovery, and that this can inspire you. That's my hope for these vlogs, is that I can help someone, inspire someone to be able to also be encouraged in their own recovery. Laying on the ground. So I'm laying flat on my stomach, up on my elbows, and from here I'm going to be pushing up and down. Now this is to help with releasing the muscles of the lower back. And I recommend doing about 20 to 30 of these. See, basically pushing up with my elbows. So a lot of the work on this is in my arms because it's more about releasing the back, but you can lift up with the back a little bit if it's not too painful, because it's good to activate the muscles at the same time. And this is really about working the smaller muscles of the spine. By the way, this is an exercise that I got when I was in the hospital. So the physical therapist there tried a couple different exercises with me. All right. Now, you need to understand that when it comes to physical therapy, it's not always a one-size-fits-all. You have to find which exercises work for you, which exercises don't work for you. The exercises I'm doing today are exercises that I found work well for me. You want to try to avoid any exercises, though, that tend to overly irritate the area you're trying to recover from. Now, this goes for sciatica, but this goes for other types of physical therapy and recovery as well, because You want to build up strength and mobility in the areas that are injured, but you don't want to aggravate those areas and create more inflammation. So that's part of the goal with what I'm doing today. And so from here, I'm getting up on my knees and hands. And this actually, you know what? Yeah, for this part, I think it's better to show you guys from the side. So I'm up on my knees are slightly apart. My hands are against the mat. You can put your hands flat on the mat. I like to be on my fists because just I also have some wrist problems. But that's another thing. So from here, I'm going to start rotating the pelvis, rounding my back. It's going to go back and forth between rounding and arching. And I'm going to do this around, it's about 10 to 15 times I'm going to do this. So I'm rounding and arching my back or rotating the pelvis. I'll do a couple more times. Okay, I'll put a bit lower so it doesn't sound like I'm screaming into the microphone. But now I'm going to lean my hips back and forth, sitting back very slightly, just pushing the hip out to the side. And it's going back and forth. Back and forth, also about 10 to 15 times. About 10 times. Okay. All right, so from here I'm taking a block like this. I'm setting it on the floor. I'm first I'll start with my right knee on the block, coming up, still on my hands, and from here I'm gonna rotate my pelvis slightly, pushing my knee up and down. So right now I'm lifting the left side of the hip up and then pushing it back down. Now I am doing these exercises first thing in the morning, and it can be hard sometimes to tell how it feels because sometimes, depending on how I slept during the night, my hips will be tighter and more sore, depending on the night, depending on my sleep position. Which trying to get a good sleep position is important when you're dealing with sciatica, but it's something that can also be very, very challenging. So I'm one of those people that I normally enjoy or normally like to sleep on my stomach, which I don't anymore. I don't sleep on my stomach anymore, but that's typically where I find that I feel the most comfortable in sleeping, but also it's the worst for the lower back. And I've even tried certain ways to adjust ways to adjust myself so I could maybe sleep on my stomach comfortably, and as it worked out, it's only actually made the pain in my back worse. So the best is to sleep on my back with my feet elevated, or to sleep on the side with a pillow between my knees. But either way isn't always comfortable depending on the day. And then I also tend to move around during the night. So as you can see, I'm on the other knee now. Again, up and down. I'm going a little too fast. I'm going to slow that down a little bit. Let's get to talking and then I stop thinking about my tempo. So you can see rotating the hip up and down. So getting some glute activation right there. Like that. All right, up and down. Do a couple more times. All right, there we go. All right, now, last thing I'm gonna do while I'm still facing towards the mat, I'm going to spread my knees apart a little bit again. And from here, I'm going to sit back and do small motion back and forth. Right here. And I'm actually going to try to do small circles. Small circles, try to open up my hips just a little bit. Okay, I'm going to reverse direction. The direction isn't necessarily that important, but I do like trying to go both ways with it. Do a couple more times. A couple more times around. All right. There we go. All right. So, next up, I'm going to be switching my position. I'm going to be laying on my back, like such. From this position to the side, I'm going to be first starting with very small pelvic rotations. So actually what I want to do is I'm going to go like this, where I'm basically pushing my lower back down against the mat, squeezing my abdominals, then releasing, rotating my pelvis basically rotating my pelvis a little bit forward, slowly going back and forth. A very small motion. Very small, yeah. Small rotation. Don't need to push too hard on this, just small light rotation. You don't need to try to rotate to the extreme. I have a tendency sometimes to try to really push to the extreme, and that actually tends to create more tension in my lower back. So it's just small motion. Small motion. So rotating back and forth right here like that. Small motion. Hopefully not too small for the video, but hopefully you guys can see me going back and forth like this. All right. So next part, feet planted on the mat. Going to be pushing my hips up like this. Now this, depending on how your back is feeling, you can do a very small motion. Small motion is okay, or if it's comfortable enough, you can do a very big motion and try to lift the hips up as high as possible. Lifting them all the way up. Yep. do a few repetitions with both feet on the flat on the mat. This is one thing, you want to have your feet flat on the mat. You want to be pushing through your heels and your toes simultaneously. A few more repetitions. Few more repetitions on one leg. And then I'm actually going to switch to single leg. Now for this, I'm going to start with pushing off of my left foot. After that, I'm going to take my right foot. I'm going to push a little bit forward. It's actually going to have my heel against the mat, so I'm still supporting myself on the mat. But from here, pushing up with my left leg. See how that feels. I'd say overall feels good at the moment. It's one thing about this kind of recovery is you have to take it day by day. So some days you're going to feel better than others. Some days you're going to be more stiff than others. Some days you're going to be more sore than other days. And if you start to feel an aggravation in the area, then you need to slow down. You need to take a step back. But if it feels good, then you can do the exercise all the way through, and even try to add a little bit to it. Although not adding to the point of failure. It's not that kind of training. That's just one of the things about my mindset I've had to modify when it comes to physical therapy is if I'm doing regular training, my thought process is proximity to failure, trying to get close to failure. And with this kind of recovery training, or this kind of physical therapy training, I should say, physical therapy is not about that. So you're trying to do an amount that actually helps stimulate the muscle to a point where it can be active, to where there's blood flow, but not to a point where you're stressing it so much that it creates more pain. And I have done that to myself several times, where I've pushed too hard, I've done too much. And this is supposed to be my recovery. This is supposed to be my therapy. I'm calling it recovery. The recovery is the whole process. The recovery is the goal. The therapy is one of the things that's going to get me there. One of the main things that should get me there. But being disciplined, being consistent with the therapy, but also being smart with the therapy, being wise with the therapy, making the right decisions, not pushing too hard when you really shouldn't, but also being consistent and doing enough work that it helps you out. All right, so now I'm going to start again with the left leg. It's going to be grabbing from behind my thigh. And from here, in this position, I have my right foot is planted on the ground, and from here, I'm going to raise the foot up. I'm pulling the knee back, and I'm trying to raise the foot up as high as possible. As soon as I feel some pulling in my hamstring, okay, right there. The goal is to try to go gradually, just a little bit higher each time. There we go. Doing also about 10 to 15, around 10 to 15 repetitions approximately. It's not a set rule that you have to do a certain number of repetitions. But I would say if the exercise is feeling pretty good, then you should gradually try to do more repetitions. All right, switching legs. I'm going to count this time because I got to be honest, I got distracted and I wasn't counting in the last one. So we'll see. I'll do about 12 to 15 on this leg. I think I counted to 15 there. Should have been 15. Once again, in my mind, I got distracted and started to lose count, but this should have been right. All right, from here, I'm gonna put one leg out. Actually gonna start again with my left leg, just for consistency's sake. And from here, I'm gonna bring my left leg up. This is pulling with my abdominals to lift the leg, but also getting a bit of a stretch through both the hamstrings and the glutes. Now, some abdominal strength is important for support for your lower back. And by the way, not just the front abdominals, which is what everyone trains, but also the obliques, the sides as well. Very important. So I was told years ago that, because unfortunately the sciatica is the most severe back problems I've had, but I've had other back problems in the past, and one thing I've been told is that I tend to overuse both the muscles in my lower back and also somewhat the front part of my front part of my abdominals. I really also need to be squeezing the sides of my abdominals. So coming right here, you hit me in the side right here. So I'm focused on squeezing the sides of my abdominals, my obliques. Okay, switching legs. This is nice and tight. It's also 10 to 15 repetitions. All right. Okay, last exercise on the back. Gonna switch to the side. All right, so this part right here, I'm gonna be on the side, and I'm gonna be using a yoga block. From here, I'm gonna be laying first. I will lay on the right side, yep, like this, And from here, I'm just going to be raising up my left leg. So one knee forward, and such. And I'm basically lifting up my heel slightly behind me. This one's about 15, maybe 15 to 20 repetitions. Now, since today this is the last exercise of the what I would call the therapy group of exercises, before I'm going to jump on the elliptical after this, but so I can try to go until really start to feel some fatigue in my hip. Really trying training that outer part of the glute to help support my hips and my lower back. Alright. Make sure the camera's on. Okay, oh, I can feel the burn right now. A couple more repetitions. Lifting up. Okay, there we go. All right, gonna flip it over to the side. All right, same deal. And now my left leg, my left knee is bent. And I'm bringing my right leg straight, slightly behind, lifting up the heel. Also an important part of this is that I am trying to keep the right side of my hip forward. It can be very tempting to let this side of the hip drop back. I don't want to do that. So pushing forward with the hip, pushing back a bit with the heel, lifting straight up. And a little bit trickier on this side. Feel, the fatigue. Because of the sciatica, this is my weaker side, so it tends to get fatigued more quickly. Do a couple more repetitions right there, lifting up. Yeah. Okay. And there we go. Okay, that was good. All right. So that was the actual therapy for my back. Those are the physical therapy exercises. Now from there, the workout is not finished because I'm going to jump on the elliptical, do some cardio, short cardio, but then after that I'm going to also do some weight training as well. All right, so next part of the training is going to be getting onto the elliptical. I'm going to go for probably about 6-7 minutes. During that training time, I've put on my headphones and I'm watching a video. That's one thing for me. Cardio is just, I personally find cardio to be really boring. Some people love cardio. I get bored doing cardio, so I find that putting on a video helps it pass a bit more smoothly, even for shorter bouts of cardio. Anyway, gonna stop making excuses, gonna jump on the elliptical. Let's get going. It's about 3 minutes now, about 3 more minutes. All right, so that's it for the elliptical. I only did 6 minutes, which I realize might seem like a very, very short amount, but keep in mind that a few months back I could only do a couple minutes without creating a lot of pain for myself. And also, I do believe that when it comes to your physical therapy and also your regular training, that you do have to make some decisions based off of what your daily schedule, regular schedule is going to look like. So for instance, if you have a day where you don't have much going on, maybe you have a lot of time at home, then you can maybe do longer, harder training sessions. But for example, like today, I'm going to have 2 tours in the afternoon. I'm a tour guide. That's my main job. And so I'm going to be on my feet walking around a lot. And so I don't really need to be trying to do larger bouts of cardio, which might irritate my back a bit more before I go to work. So it is a slow process. Again, I realize 6 minutes, and I didn't show you the full 6 minutes because that's boring, but 6 minutes is a short amount of time. But for me, it is progress compared to where I was, and I do plan to build up on that. But anyway, got that done out of the way. Now going to jump into the resistance training / weight training portion of the workout. Now this is going to be pretty straightforward. I'm trying to focus on moves that don't put a lot of pressure on my lower back. So I'm going to be doing some dips for my chest and triceps. So right over here, it's going to be doing some dips right here on the multi-trainer, and then I'm going to be going from there and doing some training with the dumbbells, doing some biceps and some shoulder work. So mainly some upper body training today, and then that's going to be kind of it for today. But anyway, let's jump into it. All right, so doing some light warm up. Shift over, do some dumbbells. It's also light warm up. Do some here. I'm gonna do some dumbbell curls. And add to that some lateral raises, not trying to hit anything. Okay. Right here. All right. All right. I'm still doing a bit of a warm up with the dumbbells. So be careful how I pick up the dumbbells. All right. Okay, this is still part of my warm up. Okay, go back on the dips. This is going to be my first regular set of dips. I'm assisting myself with my feet a little bit. I'm more supporting myself on my feet a little bit, not assisting myself so much. But it's because I want to get a good range of motion, go nice and deep. That's a nice good set right there. Okay. Jumping with the dumbbells. Some curls. There you go. All right, this is still warm-ups. Again, I chose these exercises because they put literal or limited, very little tension on my lower back. Raises. By the way, you notice I'm doing supersets and trisets. That just saves time. Love those. Dips, chest, triceps, front of the shoulders a little bit. Great exercise. Also, basically no pressure whatsoever on the lower back. So, the sciatica is one of the best exercises you can do if you're dealing with sciatica, in my opinion. All right, give it a second. Grab the dumbbells, do some biceps. That's a good one. Second. Let's relax again before we do the lateral raises. Whew. That's pretty good right there. Now, I'm actually done with the dips because I warmed up the exercise first and also had less warm-up sets. I think that when you're doing body weight exercises, you don't need as many warm-up sets as if you're doing dumbbells or any kind of weights. Because with weights, you can start with a very low weight, work to a higher weight with, you have to switch the weight in between. With body weight, it's a little bit different. So I've already done my sets for dips, but I do one more superset of biceps and lateral raises, and then after that, I'm actually going to do a couple of single arm dumbbell presses, military presses, and then I'm going to try to do a few repetitions with some very lightweight on the lat pull down, kind of see how that feels, and just do a tiny little bit of work for my upper back, although that's one of the exercises I have to be most careful with because that can actually put some strain on my lower back if I try to do too much. There we go. I'm going to be going, this is a lightweight, for me definitely lightweight. Slow and controlled. Really focusing in this on squeezing my abs and my obliques. There we go. All right. Now for some overhead presses. Oh wow, time is flying. I have to go to work soon. All right. It's important to find a stance that's comfortable for the lower back. Also, again, squeezing the abdominal wall, abs and obliques. Yeah, really squeezing, trying to squeeze the abs and the obliques. Do just a couple of sets of these. weight in this exercise looks light, it's because it is on purpose. I'm mainly doing this to keep the motion fresh. This isn't what my normal back training would look like. Usually include a lot more rows, definitely heavier lat pull downs. It's good not to let the motion get stale, and this is still working the muscles a little bit, not to a point to make them grow, but at least to help them a little bit with not getting smaller over time, to keep them active. That's when you start to lose muscle mass. Reps. There we go. Back to the overhead presses. This is also pretty lightweight, by the way. More focusing on trying to have a big stretch in the bottom of the motion. Okay, all right, that's good for today. That is good for today. That is a wrap. Now, just to say that when it comes to recovering from something like sciatica, lower back pain, there's not really there's really not a one-size-fits-all solution. You have to, I would recommend going to a physical therapist, getting some advice there. Definitely don't just take the word of some guy off the internet. I would definitely not recommend that. But also, there's some things that you can do on your own at home, because you could be paying a lot of money to go to a physical therapist once a week or every other week, but the work that you do at home is really important, especially that therapy work that you do at home. Physical therapy isn't something you should be doing once a week. It's something you should be doing at the very minimum every other day. And if you're well enough for it, doing it every day or almost every day. And then trying to, after that, incorporate some more normal training movements into that and gradually working your way back up. And it is a process. It can be frustrating. It can be daunting. Sometimes you have to take some steps back to take some steps forward. I'm not recommending to anyone that you would, I think if you're dealing with sciatica, you should definitely try the workout that I'm doing today, but you should measure the doses of how much you do each exercise. So don't try to go too heavy. Don't try to do too many repetitions. Don't try to do too many sets. Maybe you just started your recovery. It's your first couple workouts. You've been doing some physical therapy already. In fact, I would say if you've just injured your back, you shouldn't do anything. You need to take a break. Leave some time for the inflammation to come down. But once you start doing the physical therapy, then I would recommend for at least a couple weeks. I would say at least a couple weeks, only do the physical therapy. See how that goes. If it's feeling all right, then start to add some regular exercises, but start with, say, 1 set per movement instead of, trying to do like 3 or 4 sets per movement, and try to do lightweight, low repetitions, and then gradually increase, gradually add sets, tiny bit of weight, a few more repetitions, and then over time, again, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. You want to take care of yourself, you want to take care of your lower back. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Definitely want to definitely going to be putting out more of this content, because this is an important part of my life right now, doing these workouts, and so I hope this can help inspire and help someone else out. I hope this definitely does help someone else out. But also, we do want to put other home gym content on here as well. We want to talk about different things when it comes to the advantages of having a home gym. So when it comes to recommendations as far as where you should start if you want to start training at home. If you want to begin training at home, there's some advice that I would definitely have for you if you're just starting out. Some important recommendations as far as, so things like that. You know, some tips as far as shopping around for gym equipment, what to look for first, some things to be careful about, and also want to do especially once I get better, and you know, Lord willing, it's not too long not too much longer before I'm better, where I can show you guys demonstrate for you guys some regular workouts. But even before that, definitely some recommendations I want to make as far as ways you can train at home, and you can actually do a lot at home with not even having that much equipment. I think I'm very blessed to have the equipment that we have, the space that we have, but you can get a good workout without even having all this stuff that you can see right behind me. This stuff is great. I love it, but you know, even with just you get some dumbbells, maybe a bench, a mat you can put on the floor. There's already a whole lot of stuff you can do with that. So I want to put some videos out about that as well. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Definitely, definitely hope you continue to follow us in the future. And everyone watching this, have a very blessed day.